Hello YouTube, I'm back with another Ruger comparison. Sorry it took me so long to get another video out. My wife and I listed our house for sale last week, and we've had 3 or 4 showings a day since we listed it, so just have not had the 20 minutes to sit down and make something. But here I am. So today we have the new SR1911 lightweight 9mm officer, and we have the SR1911 lightweight in 45 ACP. Now I wish I had this gun in 9mm so I can kind of do more of an apples to apples comparison, but the 9mm version of this pistol is essentially the same, with a few differences like a barrel size, stuff like that. So this is as close as I can get for you. Both pistols are clear and unloaded. So we'll go over some size comparisons, weight comparisons, take them both down, and show you the differences inside of them, which one I like more, stuff like that. So let's go over features first. The 45 has thin grips on it, wood. They're wood from Ruger, and the 9mm has thin grips on it also, but they're G10, so they're plastic. Now I don't know if you can hear this, but these have great traction, as diamond pattern wood grips typically do. They'll wear down over time, but they have good, you get a good purchase on that. These are super slick. They're just slippery plastic all the way around, with the exception of inside of the wing here. It has the same texturing an LCP2 has or a Security 9 has. It's cool looking. In my opinion, there's just not enough of it. The serrations on the slide are different. On the 9mm to the 45, these are just a traditional angle cut, and these are kind of like arrows. It feels good in the hand. They feel good. You get a good grip on those. There's something about them that they work. They both have the steel Novak branded 3-dot sights, so that's cool on a 1911. The 9mm also has a little rounded mainspring housing down here. It's not much. It's not like a bobtail or something, but it's definitely more than the traditional one that the 45 CMD has. As far as weight goes, there's a little bit of a difference. The 9mm with an empty magazine is 27.35 ounces, that is. And the 45 with an empty mag is 28.9 ounces. So roughly an ounce and a half difference. The 9mm is much smaller of a pistol, but the barrel is much heavier. So that is most likely why the difference in weight is not as substantial as one might think. The 9mm ships with 2 of these Ruger branded 8-round 9mm magazines, and the 45 ships with 2 of these Ruger branded 7-round magazines. Great mags. I don't have any complaints with them. I've had Wilson Combat mags just like anybody who has a 1911 typically does. Other than the cool look of the little rubber bumper on the bottom, I don't care. These mags are going to be just fine. So as far as size goes, it's essentially an officer size 1911 to a commander size. It's about if you include the bushing, it's got to be close to an inch. I would say 3/4 of an inch shorter. And then the same with the grip. It's probably closer to a 1/2 an inch smaller as far as the height of the pistol goes. Give you this view the best I can. So there you can see that difference in the slide right there. The frame, the length of the frame is really similar. If you can see here and here, it's just the slide and barrel. I think they're both very cool pistols. I didn't buy either of them for defensive purposes. I just bought them because they were cool. You know, that's typically what I do. So the internals of these pistols are pretty different. I'll take them both down and give them a side by side, and you can take a look. So the SR1911 45 breaks down just like a 1911 should. Hammer back, safety on. Spin your bushing out of the way. Take your cap off. Take your safety off. Slide the slide back till you can push the pin out. Pin comes out. Slide comes right off. Spring comes out the back. Swing your bushing over to the other side. Take that out. Put your barrel lug down. Barrel slides out of the front. And there is your field stripped SR1911. So this pistol has a pretty cool titanium feed ramp in there. See if you can get a view of that. I'll move these to the side and take apart the 9mm and show you the differences. Alright, so here's the 9mm. On this pistol, you kind of skip the whole bushing up front because it's a bull barrel. So you cock your hammer back. No need to put the safety on. You just pull your slide back till you can pop your pin. It's basically the same exact pin. At this point, it comes right apart. The spring also comes out of the back. There's this little spring cup that you just push down. Barrel lug swings forward. Barrel comes out of the front. This pistol does not have that feed ramp because it's a ramped barrel. So let's go piece by piece and show you the differences. Essentially the exact same for the frames. Okay, no surprises there. Essentially the exact same for the slides. I think they did a great job at designing a bushingless barrel around kind of a slide design they already had. Pins. Visually, they look like the exact same pins. I'm not going to try to put one in the other gun or one in the wrong gun, but visually they look identical. Spring caps. Obviously this one sits inside the slide. This one comes from the outside of the slide in and gets held in by your bushing. Springs. The 9mm has a full-length steel guide rod and a flat spring. The 45 has a traditional kind of coil spring, I want to call it, and a traditional guide rod. Barrels. 9mm is a ramped barrel, and it's a bushingless bull barrel. They have So similar lugs that fit into the slide and lock up in a similar way. They're just different shaped. Let's weigh these. I've never done this yet. See if my theory was correct. So the 45 barrel weighs 2.85 ounces. And the 9mm barrel weighs 4.25 ounces. So that is pretty much what makes up that small marginal weight difference between these two pistols fully assembled. One would think the officer model would be much lighter than it is in the 45, but it's not. So let's put them back together, and I'll give you my opinion on which one I like more. They were both the exact same price. They both came from a60firearms.com. They were both $740 or $720. So 9mm, the barrel comes in from the front. This time you put your little spring cap into its home. It just falls in there, there's no tension. Spring comes in from the back. Take your lug and just put it back up. Sometimes assembly of 1911s can be finicky, as anyone who owns one knows. So let's hope everything is nice and easy on camera so I don't look like a sucker. There's the 9mm. Triggers are pretty much the same. Alright, we'll show you a little take up. It's the wall, do a reset. The resets on 1911s are awesome. Right there, it kind of pushes your finger out to it. So there's the 9mm. .45, your barrel comes in from the front. Put your bushing on. If you're looking at the barrel, if you're looking at the bottom of the slide, it's easy for me to remember. You know, it's always with my right hand. I'm right-handed, so I always put the bushing to the right, then you spin it to the left. Spring comes in from the back. Set your barrel lug where it is. Now, for some reason on this pistol, this lug is very, I don't know if you can see that, it's very loose. So it tends to, upon reassembly, it always tends to hide on me and run away. So we'll see if we can get it right in its home. And there it goes. I don't know if it's just this particular pistol that I own or all of them are like that, but there it is. It just tends to wobble inside of its home sometimes. And sometimes it can get frustrating, but if you take your time and you get it. So at this point, your pin's back in. Safety's back on. Take your cap, push it down, swing your bushing over, and now you're assembled. Okay? This trigger is exactly like the other trigger. One thing to note between the two, it's much easier to rack the 9mm slide than it is the 45 slide. And I would believe that's due to spring weight, you know, much heavier, more powerful round, smaller, faster moving round. You know, it's just harder to pull this one back. So my opinions on the two pistols, excuse me. Well, anybody who watches my videos knows that I'm a Ruger fanboy, I guess, if I could steal something from the Glock fanboys terminology. If I only could have one of these two pistols, I would take the 45 every day, all day. No questions about it. there's something about just throwing big 45 bowling balls downrange with a 1911 that you just don't get with this one. It's a similar, it's a similar feel in your hand, but there's just maybe kind of like a nostalgia kind of thing of having a 1911 and 45. If I were to carry one, I still would probably carry the 45. I don't carry a 1911 personally. Not that there's anything wrong with people that do. I carry a LCP2. Say what you will about it, I love it. So there's my review of these two pistols. I hope it was in detail enough for you guys. If you want to see anything, just give me a shout in the comments, and I'll do my best to get it out there. As always, I hope everybody enjoyed my videos, and have a great night.